Alright, what's up guys? Today I want to talk about my thoughts on transitioning from Victory motorcycles over to Indian motorcycles. That's something that I just recently did. Just picked up this 2021 Indian Springfield. And before getting this guy, the only cruisers that I've ever owned, they've all been Victories. My first cruiser was a 2006 Victory Vegas. My second one was a 2012 Highball. And then my third one was a 2016 Cross Country that I just sold a couple of years ago now. So this video may be helpful if you have a Victory and you're looking to get something else, you're not sure where to go, or even if you have a Victory and you're content with it, you're not looking for something else, but you're kind of wondering what will be next when the time comes. You might find this video helpful. Or if maybe you don't have a Victory, but you're looking at getting one or picking up an Indian, maybe you can take something from this as well. But let's get into it. I should probably throw out the disclaimer. Just want to say you can't ever go wrong buying a Victory or an Indian. So just want to throw that out there. But then I should just give a little bit of backstory as to why I let go of my Victory in the first place. Because it wasn't an immediate decision to sell my Victory and get an Indian. I sold my 2016 Cross Country a couple years ago just because I wasn't riding it as much. I had just picked up my Super Duke a few months prior, so I was kind of neglecting my Cross Country. It just wasn't being ridden that much, and I hated to see it sit. So yeah, I sold it just thinking, yeah, I'll focus on the Super Duke for a little while, and then I'll get a cruiser again. I actually thought I'll get a Victory again. Thought for sure I'd pick another Victory up. That's what I honestly thought when I sold it. Was like, yeah, I'll get another Victory again. Maybe I'll get a Highball again or another Cross Country or something. And then a year or two goes by, I get the itch to get a cruiser again. My girlfriend and I are wanting to do more two-up riding, and while it was doable on the Super Duke, definitely wasn't ideal. Then I just wanted one. I just wanted a cruiser again. So I decided to get serious about it, listed and sold the Super Duke, and then started looking at cruisers. Was looking at quite a few Victories, some Indians, some Harleys, and I ended up first coming to the decision that it felt like time for me to move on from Victory, at least for right now. And here's why. So a small contributing factor to why I wanted to move on is just the declining support around Victory. There's less and less aftermarket support, and then there's less, OEM factory support. Polaris is going to stop making parts for Victory, I think, in 2027. When Polaris decided to close up shop on the Victory brand, they committed to making parts for the next 10 years, so that should be expiring here. But the big reason, the main reason I kind of decided to move on was I just wanted to try something different. I've owned 3 different Victories, 3 different styles of bike, really, and from 3 different generations, so I felt satisfied in the Victory experience and what they had to offer. Now, that's not to say that it wasn't enough for me or that I wouldn't go back even, but I just wanted to try something different. And I am a person that likes all types of motorcycles. I've owned every different type: naked bikes, full fairing sport bikes, cruisers, enduros. I just really enjoy motorcycles in general. But yeah, I felt like I wanted to try something new, try something different, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So I settled on Indian. I actually considered a few Harleys, test rode a couple Harleys, ultimately came back to Indian, and I'll make a separate video at some point kind of comparing and contrasting Harley to Indian and just some of my thoughts there. But I decided I wanted an Indian for a few reasons. One, I like that they're American made, or at least as American made as anything can be these days, including Harleys. Maybe they're not American made, but they're American assembled or whatever. Their engines are made in Wisconsin, they're assembled in Iowa. I saw one video of some Indian dealership manager saying that 87% of the parts for Indian are made in the USA and then the rest are made in Canada. I don't know how true that is. I couldn't find anything online to back that up. This guy's shutting down traffic here. But anyway, that played into it a little bit. Indian has a complicated, but I would say rich history here in the United States. The rights to the name and manufacturing, all that has changed hands a bunch of times, and they got a really complex history. I can make a video about that one of these days as well. but that all definitely played a part into it. I like the classic styling of the bikes. The Springfield especially is way different than any of the other bikes that I've ever owned. I usually haven't been super into chrome or kind of the retro vibe of Indian motorcycles, but it's just something that's been growing on me for a long time. I've been kind of joking that my bike looks like a old man bike, just because like 10-15 years ago that's what I would have considered this to be, but I honestly love the look of these classic bikes. And coming from Victory, it feels like the right transition. It feels natural. There's obviously some similarities between Victory and Indian. A lot of what Victory did and learned has bled over into Indian a little bit. Most notably the Indian Scouts, which are super popular right now. They're basically built on, you know, the Victory Octanes platform. The early iterations of the Scout and, you know, the final iteration of the Victory Octane are almost identical. A lot of what Victory did with the bikes, like the Victory Cross Country, a lot of those lessons learned bled into Indian's kind of performance models with the Challenger and, you know, their performance bikes with the big liquid cooled performance engines. And it's not just the bikes that are similar, it's, from what I'm seeing so far, it's the communities that are similar as well. Just from what I've discovered talking to people that own Indian so far, you know, talking on the Indian subreddit, Indian Motorcycles forums, stuff like that, Indian Springfield owners Facebook page, everyone just seems really chill, really helpful, really willing to share and answer questions. And it's just people that don't mind, you know, doing or riding something a little bit different. I mean, if you're riding a cruiser that's not a Harley, that's, I mean, it's just different. Statistically, it's different. They dominate the cruiser market. And it seems like a good portion of people that ride Indian have ridden or owned Victory as well. I just think it's a really cool community to be a part of, and I like it a lot. It reminds me so much of what I liked about the Victory community so far. So yeah, if you're thinking of moving on from Victory, or maybe you're not looking at moving on right now, but kind of wonder what's next, you know, what's that next bike gonna be? And if you enjoy Victory, you like Victory motorcycles, then I think Indian motorcycles are a fantastic next option. And again, I just like to reiterate that there's absolutely nothing wrong with sticking with Victory motorcycles by any means. I hope that I own another one someday. And my girlfriend would like to get her motorcycle endorsement in like August of this year and start learning how to ride, and I would love for her to ride a Victory. Yeah, this bike does lean over pretty good. Anyway, I hope this video has been helpful. If you could drop a like and hit the subscribe button if you made it this far, that would be awesome. And until the next one, peace out.